Hello, this is the next episode of learning more about Northern Italian regional languages and cultures. We're joined with Chiara from Novi Ligure with some heritage from Val Borbera, which is a valley in Piemonte with some strong cultural traditions and similarities to Liguria. If you don't mind, Chiara, thanks for joining firstly. Can you please introduce yourself and a little bit about your hometown?
Yes, of course. So my name is Chiara. I'm about to turn 20 and I study at the University of Genoa. The course I follow is Lettere Moderne. So it's basically the study of literatures, history and arts of different historical ages and different places, mainly in Europe. I live in Novi Ligure, as you said, and it's a town in southern Piedmont near to the Liguria area with about 30,000 inhabitants, but my origins come from Daglio. Daglio is a small village in the mountains in the Carrega Ligure town council, which is in the area of the four provinces, so where Liguria, Piedmont, Emilia-Romagna, and Lombardia meet. It's located at 945 meters of elevation in the Borbera Valley. It's called Borbera Valley because there's a stream, the Borbera, which characterizes the mountains around it, and many people during the summer go there to have a dip or get some fresh air to escape from the hot and humid weather we have here. Yeah, so my origins are from there.
Incredible. And in the Borbera Valley, do you know any of the dialect? If so, can you tell us what you know?
Yeah, yes, of course. I know a bit of dialect from Daglio area, where both of my grandparents were born and learned the dialect as their kind of native language. But because of my parents have always been pretty busy for their jobs, I grew up with them and I learned some words and idiomatic expression just by listening to them talking. The dialect, even if we live in Piedmont, is more towards the Ligurian dialect because we're really close to Liguria. Novi Ligure also reminds it of it. And there have been many influences during the centuries. So maybe I could say that I'm Chiamo Chiara. So my name is Chiara. Sto a Novi. I live in Novi and studio all'università. So I study at university. Am piace cucinare, liese, far l'orto. So in my free time, I like cooking, reading, taking care of the vegetables that we grow in our garden. And am piace o me dialetto perché è interessante, bello saber come i miei nonni, me barba, me lalla, I parlo. So I like my dialect because it's interesting to know how my grandparents, aunts, and uncles used to speak back in the days. So my dialect is pretty similar to French. So many words and many sounds are pretty much the same. For example, sugar, which in French is sucre, and in Italian is zucchero. In my dialect, we say sucru, which is also a bit similar to English if we pay attention, because sugar, sucru. The difference is that in French dialect and English, the S is voiceless, is a voiceless sound, while in Italian, zucchero begin with a Z, so it's a voiced sound. O pesta in ta cucina, so to remain in the kitchen, the flour, which is in Italian is farina, and dialect is faina, and so it's begin with an F, like in English. Some people also say it's similar to Portuguese, but I don't know a single word in Portuguese, so I don't know if it's true. But I've listened some people speaking Portuguese, and I think the prosody might be a bit similar. Other simple sentences you normally say at home that are also the one that I know better because I've mostly heard the dialect at home from my grandparents are pisa a luce, smorsa a luce, which means switch the light on and switch the light off, or dvera finestra, which means open the window, sera a puerta, which means close the door. Or if you're at home and you're really thirsty and there's your grandma there, you can say, Dame un goto d'egua per piacere, which means, could you please give me a glass of water? And then there's a funny idiomatic expression, which is stucco in pittura fan bella figura, which means that stucco and paint always may make a great impression. And it's an expression we use when, maybe the local government hasn't taken good decision during the term or hasn't done much. But the election are approaching and they start painting new crossing roads and filling holes in roads. And you say, stucco and pitua fan bella figura. And another funny word is a famous F word, which is Berlin. And literally, it's not a great word to say out in public, but it's used in many contexts and it's kind of an idiomatic expression. For example, if you're always late and every morning you miss the train to reach Genoa to go to university and you see the train leaving in front of you, you can say Berlin un'altra volta, which means, oh no, I miss it again. And you're blaming yourself for always being late. And in English, I think it's a filler word. So we call it an intercalare. So we use it in sentences. It doesn't really make sense, but it's just a word that we use to, an F word, it doesn't really make sense, but it's pretty famous also in the Genoese dialect.
That's incredible. It's a really rich bit of information about your dialect, and it's amazing that even at such a young age, you know so many phrases and idioms. And of course, hearing that is really nice for our audience. Talking about, though, obviously, you said you were from Novi Ligure, but you've got some heritage from the valley. Can you please explain to the listeners what the situation is with the dialect? Do many young people speak it either in Novi Ligure or in the Valley Borbera?
So my dialect is less and less spoken, especially from young people.
Mm-hmm.
We still know it if we have grown up with grandparents that used to speak it as a native language or language of communication at home. Maybe we know some words or idiomatic expression as I do. Old people still speak it between them, like at the cafe where they meet to have a coffee or play cards in the afternoon after dinner, maybe at church after Sunday mass. But I don't think we have the culture of speaking dialect, and it's felt like an ignorant thing to do. And I'm really sorry for it because it's instead a great way to keep our cultures alive and make us feel like participant of the same community. So also it would help young people to discover their origins and to learn a language as we learn English at school, not because we need it to communicate with the world, which is the purpose we study English for, but to keep our identities alive. And I'm really sorry because we don't speak it anymore, and it's a big value for me instead.
I'm really happy to hear that even in the current generation, there's still some people like yourself who place a strong emphasis on the dialect because obviously it brings a greater attachment to your origins. And that's really nice to hear. With regards to your era, is there any particular traditions you participate in or the people in general participate in?
Yeah, I don't think there are big tradition in my area, but maybe I could say, because I don't know if it's a thing in the UK too, that every town and city has its own saint that protect the town. It's called Santo Patrono.
Mm-hmm.
And in the day of the Santo Patrono, we have a mass and a procession where many people walk in the streets saying prayers and singing churches songs. And it's also pretty common to have fireworks that night. Shops are open till midnight and many people go out with friends and enjoy the summer. Also because in my town, in Novi, the Santo Patrono is Madonna della Neve, which
Mm-hmm.
is like the Holy Mary of the Snow, which is on the 5th of August. The tradition says that Mary sent a snowfall on the 5th of August, which is kind of a miracle. While in Daglio, it's the same thing, but we celebrate San Michele on the 29th of September and l'Assunta, which is on the 15th of August. And it's also a public holiday in Italy. We call it Ferragosto, and it's in the middle of August.
Wow, that's really interesting. I can't wait to visit the area and really get to experience the culture more. It sounds amazing. Um, just lastly, Chiara, obviously you're passionate about the dialect, you're studying languages at university. Is there any personal projects you're currently working on that you'd like to take time to mention just now?
Well, I hope to write a book. I would really like to write a book. It's like the dream of my life as becoming journalist. So when I'll publish it, I will let you know and you can read it. But wish me good luck.
I wish you good luck, but I'm sure you won't need any luck because I'm sure the book will be fantastic.
Oh,
And
thank you.
once it's published, you can obviously let me know and I'll leave a link in the description. But I just want to obviously take the time now to thank you. Hopefully, the audience has learned a lot. I've learned a lot, and it's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you.
Thank you. It was for me too.
Thank you. Take care.